Seth, look who's back. It's our
Oh, Timmy
buddy.
Tim.
It's
Good
our
to have you
buddy
back, buddy.
Tim.
Oh, it's awesome
Tim,
to be here. I've been listening. You
it's
guys have been crushing it.
oh, thank you
Appreciate that,
so
buddy.
much. Well, you were what our second guest, and
Yeah, I think
we
so.
both formed like this connection with you and wanted you to stay connected to the show and become a friend of the show and been so generous in agreeing to do that. So we were so excited to have you back here. Under difficult circumstances. So in real time, we are recording this about an hour and 15 minutes away from the Iran deadline. Um, Shit is a little crazy right now. So I thought we would take some time while we're together. We're actually all together to record a bonus episode about redistricting. You're going to want to see that conversation. But this little standalone piece is just like a gift to the audience and us to talk about everything that's happening right now in Iran, which is crazy,
I,
right?
yeah, and I'm just at a loss because I really like I knew the man was slowly losing it, right? Louis?
Yeah,
We've all seen it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to make a diagnosis, but we've all
I
seen
will.
him slow. We've all seen him slowly, sundowning, and the idea that you could even talk about eliminating an entire population of people.
It's crazy.
And like what are you trolling? Are his followers going to say that he's trolling now? Like,
Uh,
oh, he was kidding.
uh,
They always say
uh,
like he's kidding. He was kidding, you
yeah.
libs.
I
You're
mean,
all,
if he tacos out, that's what they'll say, right? If he tacos out, they'll say it was bluster, he was trolling, or it was all part of the negotiation and the bigger deal. But the thing is, like, let's just rewind the clock, right? Today is Tuesday. Right now it is 6:48 p.m. This morning, Trump put out on Truth Social that he was going to wipe out the entire civilization of Iran, basically, if he didn't get anything done by 8 p.m. So obviously, we're very close to that deadline right now. Throughout the course of the day, other things have happened. Local people in the UK have actually filmed United States B-52 bombers loading up and taking off. Obviously, we can't confirm what direction they're headed in, but we can all assume that they're heading towards Iran. Um, the Iranian people have now gone out into the streets and they're forming human chains around their power plants and their nuclear site and across their bridges. And they have a doomsday clock on their news channels. Like, this is the closest we've been to something so significant in terms of potential nuclear attack. I mean, that's what's kind of being floated around in the ether. And so I just wanted to take a few moments, kind of talk through how we're feeling, scenarios, what we think is going to happen here. Tim, why don't you weigh in? What are your thoughts?
Uh, I've worked in politics for 17 years, and when you are in it for this long, you get to see that there's multiple colors, all of them being true colors in so many aspects of our society, and the people with power and the people without.
Mhm.
Um, the true colors of the Republican Party right now is that they don't have a fucking spine.
Yeah.
Because if there was ever a time to stop bending the knee and to stop kissing the ring, it is right now. If he's threatening something of this level of carnage on the precipice of genocide for a country that has not attacked us, an unprovoked attack
Mhm.
on them and the innocent people that live there, where's the line? There is no line.
Yeah.
And it's because they want to preserve their own ambition or their own status or their own connection with him. And if things go as bad as we hope that they don't go,
Mhm.
then they have themselves to blame. The Democrats I have plenty of gripes with, but they are the minority party. This is not a moment to, I can't blame this one on them. But
Mhm.
I would also say that the true colors of the American people I've always known to be good. And I think that there's always better people than there are worse people. I've always think that people who are good outnumber the people who are bad. Those people just don't have powers. And I've been traveling this district and I've been to free health clinics. I've been to places that impact, people in poverty that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for goodwill.
Mm.
And it's not just sad because those people are forgot about by DC and both parties have just overlooked them, but it's sad because these things wouldn't exist if there wasn't so many good people. And it just shows you the potential of our country is to be something that is greater than we've ever known we could be. And it's the struggles we've been able to overcome. And whatever happens tonight, it's the people who believe in goodness, that believe goodness can still prevail. They're the ones who need to do something now. I'm trying
Yeah.
to do it by running for office and trying to shine a spotlight on people who don't have a lot but should, and who don't have any power but should.
Yeah.
This is our moment, and it's the kind of country we choose we want to be. Those are my thoughts.
And that's beautifully said. And you're right. Republicans, unfortunately, have not been very outspoken today. A few have come out of the woodwork and said, this isn't a good idea, or I really hope that this is bluster and it doesn't come to pass. But they should be in DC, right? They
Yeah.
should be in his ear. They should be having conversations on the floor. There should be an emergency session. No president in the history of America has ever used language like this about another country. Do presidents use strong military coded language sometimes when we are in conflicts or about to get into a conflict? Sure. No American president in the history of this country on the year of our 250th anniversary has ever said we are going to wipe out an entire civilization. It's absolutely unprecedented and completely, it's a five-alarm fire. All hands on deck. Congress is missing in action, and it's really a shame.
Republicans are, you know, they have fooled themselves for so long into thinking he's just kidding. That's not what he meant. That's not what he said. Like I said earlier, he's trolling.
Mhm.
And it's lured them into this false sense of security where if they really believe that, they're going to have blood on their hands because
Agreed.
this guy is unhinged. He's completely unhinged. We were talking about bridge and power plant day to within 48 hours of that. And that was crazy enough, right? Open up the
Hmm.
street, you crazy bastards.
On
We
Easter
went,
Sunday, right?
and we went from that in 48 hours to we're decimating the population.
Hmm.
And
Quite the jump there, Trump. And so this has become a situation that is now untenable because 25th Amendment, you can throw that out the window. That would require Trump's cabinet of lackeys to turn on him, and that's not happening. That's
yeah.
not happening. And it just came out uh, that Keg's breath is out here telling Trump that we're winning the war and we're
Yeah.
doing so great and we're decimating everything. And so Trump really believes that that's happening on the ground. And it's luring him into a false sense of security. He thinks it's a game, but as we know, it's not. And Iran has been waiting for this for quite some time. And
Mhm.
if we walk into this trap, then man, and the people of Iran, when you see them forming human chains,
Yeah.
and having to do so around power plants and bridges, this is how did it get here? How did we
And
get
we
here?
don't know if they're doing that voluntarily or if their government is kind of pushing them into doing that. Either way, they're human beings and they're putting their lives in danger, whether by force or by their own fruition. And there's no words. It's heartbreaking to see that happening.
If it goes down in a couple hours that we found out that we bombed Iran, there is no question that it will be thousands of innocent lives, tens of thousands,
Could
potentially
be
hundreds of thousands
millions,
of people.
could
Yeah.
be millions, Tim. It just depends on what route they go.
And there's so many options. There's one we can try to talk about how the people who are going to be hurt the worst by this are the people who have the least amount of power in Rand. And this is one of the reasons that I don't like to just own the cons or whatever people do with like when
Mhm.
conservative voters, they have been left behind and we haven't been as a party to give them an off ramp from the Republican Party too. But I do think that there is people that we need to blame. And it's not just Donald Trump, it's every coward in his cabinet, it's every single Republican
Mhm.
with a modicum of power who's not saying anything, and it's every fucking billionaire who's ever funded his campaign, and every single person who ever turned a blind eye to things that were absolutely matters of injustice that this guy has just normalized in our country. They are the ones who can do it. And if they have any semblance of integrity, and I do not believe that they do, this is the moment for them to speak up because unfortunately, we have a country where big industry has a lot of influence. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
we have it where if they say something, Republicans on the side and Democrats will also start saying, well, my donors are complaining, so I might as well do something about it. Whatever we have to do, I don't care what it is anymore. You know, when FDR was first elected and he had his cabinet and his brain trust, he said, just do something. And if it doesn't
Mhm.
work, do something else. But just do something. This is a moment when we have to do something. And I will blame and I will not forgive anyone who has ever enabled this administration if they do even a fraction of what they are threatening to do right now. And I don't think any of us should. I don't think any of us
I,
should. I don't think any of us can.
I'm with you on that, and I won't either. There is no forgiveness for genocide, and that's what this would be. That's what this would amount to. Um, if it does happen, I mean, we have to face the facts that this would result in an immediate global economic um, disaster, emergency. Not to mention, China and Russia. They have agreements. They have working military agreements with Iran. We're getting in the way of their economics now, and things are tenuous globally, and there's very much a possibility for retaliation. There's so many, if we do this, the door to so many things are now open, and none of them good. There
Yeah.
is no good outcome here.
And
And I'm glad you brought up China uh and Russia because here's the thing. What did we do when Russia invaded Ukraine? We used Ukraine in a proxy war to weaken the Russian forces, right?
Mhm.
Well, this is the same thing, just a few years later. And if we get involved with Iran buried deep into it, absolutely China will take this opportunity and Russia will take this opportunity to try to weaken us militarily.
Yeah.
We're already using a bunch of bombs, $1 million missiles to knock down a $40,000 drone. And they love the math. They love the
Mhm.
math on that.
Yep.
So we are opening up, the Pandora's box as far as a worldwide proxy war.
Mm.
and it's it's not a matter of like winners and losers with Iran and America. I think that's just they're both losing. They're both losing,
Yeah.
but there are
Yeah.
people who can benefit from this in China and Russia who are supposed to be, in terms of international relations, they're not allies. They're adversaries to a certain extent. They're competitors in the best case scenario. What Iran's response has been to us being there has been from China. They say, look, the Americans can't protect you. Maybe you need to ally yourself with us. For Russia, they export one thing and it's oil, and we just took away the ability for the rest of the world to access that oil. So who's going to benefit? If you were worried about what is going on in Ukraine and Russia, you need to worry about what is going on in Iran, because Russia's forces are going to be bolstered, their economy is going to elevate at the same time when ours is crumbling.
Yeah.
And it's we can talk about a recession coming, but reality, everyday people have been in a recession for a very long time. We only ever say it as a government if Wall Street is hurting or the haves start to have a little less. But we've been
Hmm.
tightening our belts for years. The price of everything has gone up, but not our paychecks. And we've been in a recession for the longest time, and we haven't had anyone representing us. And now you're going to have opposing governments being able to take better care of their people and prove that maybe democracy doesn't work. Maybe
Yeah.
democracy is never going to be something that is long lived. And that's why we're at such a crossroads in this moment, in this election, in this year. Whereas we have to prove that we're better than this. We have to say that America can still be I hate to use this word, but greater than it is
Hmm.
now, to reach for a capacity we've never known before because we're in a moment of modern history where we don't know if it can get darker than this.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to come from us. If our leaders are going to step up and do something about it, they would have. This is a moment for people to realize that they have to be their own champions, that there's no hero coming. It's about us. And that's going to look like
Right.
getting in the streets. That's going to be look like making sure we, make sure that the Capitol hears our voices to be so loud this time that they can't ignore us. That is what this moment should be. And I hope to God it doesn't end up, this countdown clock ends up in nothing and it's a taco moment. But just the fact that we don't know if it's going to happen or not is also this craziness that we find ourselves where we don't know what's going to happen. And because this guy who has so much more power than the rest of us can just do whatever he wants without accountability.
Yeah.
And then the
I
last thing, go ahead,
so
Allison.
no, sorry. I mean, I think that's a great point that no one is coming to save us. We have to all collectively, as a population, accept that, regardless of who you voted for at this point. We have gotten ourselves into a situation that is potentially catastrophic no matter what happens in the next hour. And if this isn't a wake up call, I don't know what it's going to take. But at some point, we're all going to have to end up in Washington, D.C. No Kings is great, but when we're doing it locally in our own isolated bubbles, it doesn't have quite the impact. And I would encourage, if things get worse and they're not going to get better, regardless of what happens tonight, we have got to be really active and stop being passive. And midterms are important, but we have so much work to do between now and then.
It
I
would be
just think,
wonderful to get a no kings in DC
Yeah.
where we all fucking descend
Yeah.
on DC
I
10,
think we have
15
to get to
million
that place.
strong, and
Yeah.
we're at the fucking Lincoln building.
Yeah.
We're there next to the pool. Like, I don't think this protest has been growing, and that's been great to see.
Hmm.
But I think if it does come to what we hope won't happen, that there is no choice. We must descend on DC
Yeah.
in May, in June,
Next week, we
by
don't
by
know.
by any means necessary,
Right. Well,
because shit isn't out of control, and we
yeah.
can't we can't rely on Congress to rein it in. We can't.
Mm-mm.
and I think it's also just important to note that, I'm part of the, Seth, you and I are part of the generation. I guess we're all part of the generation where like was the first time we sent a whole bunch of people our age to go to the Middle East to die. I didn't
Yeah.
serve. A lot of friends who did. Some of them didn't come back. Or I knew a lot of people who did. Some of them didn't come back. Some of them didn't come back the same. And every time I drive to work in Richmond, I see a guy on the median holding a sign that says "Homeless vet, please help." And that's a choice that our country has made to turn its back on the people who are willing to sacrifice everything for us, but we just don't,
Mm.
return the favor. Uh, we could look at down the barrel of that again
Yeah.
because there's no way that if we can cause this much destruction, this much carnage in the region and do what Trump wants us to do without putting boots on the ground. And this isn't about my election, this conversation. I'm moving this to just really make sure that the point is heard is that where I'm running, it's the second most amount of veterans in Virginia.
Hmm.
And when you meet vets, they tend to have children in the military. I remember the day after we invaded Iran, I went to a house party in Williamsburg, Virginia. It's a very lovely place. A lot of veterans live there. And then two people came and just said, I just want to let you know, I saw you speak once, really like you. I can't stay because we have a call with our son. He's in the Middle East. And it was the father who started to tear up when he was telling me about it. And then we were having this conversation about this and trying to, just you have to understand these things deeper than talking points. These are things that affect people's lives. And someone said, I was in the military and my son wanted to follow my footsteps. And they said, it's okay. And he has a daughter. And I just want, I'm not afraid to go down. But if I go down, I just want my daughter to know what I was fighting for.
Mm.
If we can't answer that question of what we're fighting for, and we're not trying to exhaust every diplomatic action and the reckless, haphazard way of putting our people and our armed forces in harm's way, like this president has, not only is that just disqualifying as a leader, it's disqualifying on all of us. So if that
Yeah.
takes marching on DC, we need to do it because that's what that's what real families have to experience in this moment. And I think it's too easy to get caught up in all of the things. But I try to look at things on the microscopic level too. I want to be a country better than this. That's why I don't want this to happen. I don't want this war to continue. I don't want this president to have any more power ever. And I want him to have some accountability if he has to stay there. But the second thing is, if we don't, it's those families that I'm going to think about, and I think about them already. And it's the people we got to remember is that this is something that is going to change. I was on an all veterans panel, and someone said, the military doesn't just take something from you; it takes everything from you, live or die. We have an obligation to take care of these people, and then sometimes that means that despite the fact that they can fight with so much valor, and I will put our military up against anyone else every day of the week because of their valor, because of their competence, because of their ability to do it, that doesn't mean that we can just send them off recklessly. That means that we should be safeguarding them every chance we can, and there should be only when we've exhausted every option do we do something like this.
Agreed.
But if we do what we're going to do, there will be boots on the grounds.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah, it
just-
has to be.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. Little less than an hour to go until that 8 o'clock deadline. We just wanted to, before we get into our next conversation, our bonus episode conversation, wanted to do kind of a quick emergency episode just to reach out to the audience and, talk about what we're all thinking about and talking about. And we're all here just hoping for the best. If Trump's ever going to taco, let it be tonight. Yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed. So thanks for joining in on that conversation, Tim. We're not going to edit this because it's just
Yeah. No,
we're
thanks
just
for letting me be
talking.
part of it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. It's therapeutic.
Absolutely.
Nothing else.